What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Football Game Show brought to you by Front Yard Fantasy here at Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by the full FYF crew on Fridays, minus our friend Jay. We got Joey Wright, John Luke Garofalo, and Tim Wright on here with us, and joining us, our great friend, someone that we got to smell in person just this weekend, the head of Dynasty over at Football Guys and a content creator over at the Devi Royale. Jeff, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Hey, thank you for inviting me. It was great to see. I saw all four of you this weekend, and that was fantastic. Anytime we get to spend that time in person together is amazing. And thank you for the very nice introduction. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to do what we're going to do today.
And what we're doing today is mock draft. And Jeff is going to give us some of his hottest tips and his secrets, personal and about fantasy football. He promised before the show.
Only the dirtiest secrets.
Only the dirtiest secrets. Joey, John Luke, Tim, how are you guys doing today?
Yep.
Look at how colorful my
I'm
hand
good.
is now.
Man,
it's so great.
What's wrong with your hand?
I got the color of all the colors on my hand. There's
Where
nothing wrong with
did
it.
you steal that from like elementary school, or how did you get that?
No,
Why do you have
ordered
15?
so many beads for a festival coming up. So I'm getting crafty,
Nice.
boys. I'm getting crafty.
Get
Tim
crafty.
Tim has all the beads. Joey does nothing but support his craft, and we are here to mock draft. But before we get into that, we got some people in the chat. Herm's stopping in saying, "What is up, my dudes? Welcome,
What up,
in,
Herms?
Herms." And we've got Craig stopping by. Back to a new avatar on YouTube. No more orange. So today's guest is an intelligent, witty, and affable guy. He's also making his 9th FYF appearance and his first time on screen doing an FYF mock draft.
Wow, I would have thought Jeff would be in the double digits club.
Next
more
time, I'm going to have to do it. That's why I
Next
told you guys
time.
at the expo. We can do it again on Monday, and then I'll be in the double digits club, and
Yeah.
we'll be ready to go. No, and
we need a
Herms
bunch of
and
those
Craig are
confetti guns.
fantastic roommates, and so they were my roommates at the expo, so appreciate both of them joining.
Wow, we got
Are
to
they-
smell you
how-
and them, and you smelled them even closer than we did. It's just a weekend of scents and
Us
aromas.
in the same building.
How is Craig as a snuggler? I've always kind of wondered.
I grabbed the loft by myself. I'm a dad. I'm 40, and so I just said I'm hunkering down here by myself. Leave me alone, please.
So,
Okay.
excellent snuggler. You didn't even notice.
Yeah.
when you came up.
Well to play it off, Jeff. Good job.
Really great, Craig. You're such a gentle snuggler in bed. We got Scampers in the chat stopping by.
What up, scamps?
And it's a beautiful day to mock draft with some FYFers. And we got some FYFers right up here ready to draft with you. Andrea stopping by, I believe, has the 11th spot in
Andrea?
today's draft. Excited to draft with you.
Oh, Andrea's about to snipe the F out of me.
And one of our favorite Canadians in here, Toronto Dave, stopping
Dude.
by.
Other
Jay,
guy we sniffed.
we sniffed him so hard. Jay coming in saying, "I'm sad I didn't get to smell my friends." Well, there's always more smells to go around, Jay. I'll bottle mine up and send it to you. I
Some of
promise.
those rooms you probably could
Yeah.
have smelled from where you were.
Yeah, absolutely.
Damon here said, "Happy Friday, FYF friends." What's up, Dame? Welcome in. And we got One Nation Underground in here as well. What up, One Nation? Welcome in. Well,
What
guys,
up?
today, like I mentioned, we brought Jeff here to do a 12-team redraft mock draft. But before we get into that, a couple reminders. First and foremost, if you're not already following our guest Jeff on Twitter, you need to fix that immediately. He's on Twitter at For Whom J Bell Tolls. It's right there below his handsome face on the screen, and the link is underneath this video on YouTube, wherever you're watching. Now, if you're on YouTube watching on the FYF channel or there on BSN, go and hit that subscribe button, and the little notification bell is the easiest way to make sure you never miss any of our shows live every day at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And one more announcement from us. As we've mentioned earlier this week, you can pre-order the FYF Declassified Draft Guide right now for $10.01 on frontyardfantasy.com. It's got blurbs and analysis written by yours truly and the rest of the FYF team, and a little bit of surprise in there too. So if you like the nonsense that's here on the show, you're probably going to like the nonsense that's there in that guide. Go ahead and go to frontyardfantasy.com, 10:01, and get your pre-order on the draft guide ready on your computer this weekend. That being said, you boys ready to get into a draft?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm going to pull this draft board up. Jeff, you are picking first in this draft. I'm next with the 4th pick. Tim has pick number 6. Joey has pick 8. And then John Luke at pick 12. And the rest of the picks intermixed amongst the chat and the people down there.
I'm worried about my good friend John Luke over there. Okay.
That's me.
That's what I'm
kinda
thinking.
fun,
Is maybe we put this down here. That way nobody feels lonely. Or Jeff, you did say you like the loft. Would you feel more comfortable if you had the one solo spot over there on the side?
Goodness, that's too big of an honor for me. I don't know about that.
It's kind of like the
Like
lofted
a
spot.
sidecar, more like it.
How many wheels are on a sidecar? Wasn't that a trivia question we had the other day?
2?
Huh.
1.
Is it just one?
I don't know.
I
Jeff,
hate
how many
I
I
wheels
feel
are on
like
a
it's
sidecar?
definitely not one because, like, I don't know, maybe it's one, but like I'm worried about the front of the sidecar. That seems like a lot of weight for just one wheel, but what do I know?
so big,
Yeah.
so huge wheel, big wheel.
Yeah,
How
it's-
many wheels are on a sidecar?
What I'm realizing
Well, it
is
was
most
one.
of the times I see a sidecar,
Is it
I'm
one?
only looking from like the window up because there's a dog in it in the image that I'm seeing.
True.
So why would I
Never look at
ever
the
look at the wheels whenever there's a dog in all the pictures I'm seeing? Guys, I'm going to go ahead and get this draft started. Jeff, you are up first, and then we'll keep on going. 12-team redraft. Curious to see where you're going with your first pick.
So this is 1 quarterback. We're starting 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and 2 flex. Correct?
Indeed, non-super flex,
P-
1 QB.
So, like, my first tip would be to know is a PPR format before you start the draft. It's kind of if you're drafting out there, but I don't know. I
I
think
should
it
have
is.
said that out loud. This is a PPR format for sure.
We're good. We're good. All right, I took Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. He's your 101 of all positions
He
ahead
is.
of running back.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I like to build around wide receivers anyways, and versus the fragility of running backs early and PPR for sure. I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson number 1.
What about Jefferson puts him over Chase for you? I know that's been a big debate this offseason.
More fantasy points.
Yes.
Tim, do you agree with more fantasy points being a good reason to have Jefferson over Chase?
I think it's arguably the best reason you can have.
Does anybody here, Joey or JL, do either of you have Jamar Chase over Justin Jefferson?
No,
No,
but
I was being
doesn't
cute
matter.
earlier in the season, but I don't.
No,
anymore.
Craig, you dirty boy.
And it looks
Oh,
like Craig
Craig,
not
welcome.
only doesn't have Jamar Chase over Justin Jefferson, he also doesn't have him over Tyreek Hill. Jeff, is Chase number 2 for you, or is there is Hill, is Cup? Is it one of these other guys?
There's a group there. I just finished. I kind of did a scrub of my projections through the last 2 weeks of camp reports that we have. Football Guys does a great thing where they do camp reports and they do all the different teams. And so I read all that and kind of took in where I stood on everybody. And they're right there. And I ended up Chase barely ahead of Tyreek Hill, and it was kind of just fudging some numbers, maybe just a little bit, just because I'm expecting a huge year from Chase, and so but they are that close. And Cooper Kupp, if he was healthy, he would be there as well. But I bumped him down just a little bit with the health that we've already seen this year.
Yeah, the question I have though is Chase has missed a bunch of games because of health too, and that's just nobody ever talks about that. He's been injured, like that happened, not season ending, but he's missed a bunch of games. It boggles the mind. I picked 3 or 4 other guys above Chase, but that's just me.
Man, and then the promise last year that whenever Chase goes down, Boyd's just going to step up to fill that role. Nope. Boyd just maintains the same exact job he has, whether Jamar Chase or T. Higgins is on the field whenever one of them goes down. It's Higgins or Chase that are going to be the benefactors the other way around. Well, Tim, you made your pick. Went Travis Kelce there in the middle of the first round. Feels like you're flirting with me. Why'd you go tight end right there in the middle of round 1?
I never get Travis Kelce in these mocks, and I wanted the orange at the start. You can't beat Kelce, man. First round, anytime you can grab him, he's going to be a good pick. So
I'm with you. And you weren't getting him if you waited. You would
Oh,
not
no.
get him in the second round. We got some people stopping by in the chat. Swamp down here said, hello, FYF fam. What's up, Swamp?
What up,
Was
Swampy?
in Virginia for a Super Smash Brothers event. Did
Chantilly.
okay.
Chantilly.
I wasn't sure how to
been
pronounce
to
that, so I
Chantilly.
just
Really
skipped
good.
right over it. And reviews of Chantilly?
Yeah, it was very like metro suburban. Like it was just kind of characterless. I don't know. It didn't seem like there was a lot going on.
A lot
there.
of
Choose your
Northern
character.
Virginia.
Swamp, you brought the life to Chantilly, Virginia while you were at that Smash event then.
The spark of
I'm
Chantilly.
sure it's a very nice place to go.
And then he says, miss the weather. Yeah, heading back down to New Orleans, I'm sure isn't too nice after that. We had a question in here from Swamp for you, Joey. You've been big on Samaje Perine this year. Swamp wants to know, with the positive reports coming out about Williams, how do you feel about Mr. Perine?
Exact same as I felt about it before. I've been ranking Samaje Perine just like Javonte Williams is going to play this season. My love of Perine is basically what he can do on a limited amount of work. When he was with the Bengals, if he got 10 or more touches, I've said this 100 times, 18.4 fantasy points per game. Total touches, so that's receptions and running rushes combined. And Sean Payton, when he was the coach of the Saints the last 6 years he was there, he gave his RB2 at least 11 total touches per game. Now, I'm kind of putting a little math together to make it work. I just love the talent for Samaje Perine, and if Javonte Williams is not ready to start the season, wheels up for Samaje Perine.
Joe,
I feel
you
the
sound like
exact same as
that's
the
like
bottom as I did before.
you sound like that's like the 67th time that you've said that. So
Oh my god, like it's tattooed on my back. Let me show you. No, it's not really.
That's a
But
big
it was good,
tramp
right?
stamp, Joey.
I
It's
delivered
good,
it
yeah.
well, right?
Yeah, you
Okay.
got
Nailed
your
it.
talking points.
His back tattoo
I
says
got- Out of the
Michael P.
campaign.
Ryan.
Stumping for P. Ryan.
I can't wait for him to really crap the bed this season. So he can tell
Me
me about
too.
it.
That would make me smile
Well,
so
Joey,
big.
As someone that tied their entire image, self-worth, and value as a fantasy football player to Darnell Mooney last year, let me just tell you, it's okay. You move on. It just happens, and then you go forward.
You pick
It's
a new random guy that goes in the
Yeah.
hundreds and that you like now.
Oh man, I am loving the start
Take
of
your
this
pick.
draft.
Close your
Holy
eyes and
cow.
take your pick.
Joey,
Let's-
starting out double RB there. How you feeling about that high T start?
I like it a lot. I was surprised Eckler fell to me. I was kind of hoping that Karen Jones there would take Eckler so I could take Bijan Robinson because I've just been like, that's kind of fun. And I'm a little bit worried about Eckler's production not being the same as it was last year. But at the 108, I don't mind it at all. And then getting Nick Chubb, like the more problems that keep coming up with these running backs, whether it's Jonathan Taylor or Josh Jacobs, whatever those problems are, whether they don't have good owners or whatever, Nick Chubb just keeps moving up my rankings. So to get him, I mean, I'd have rather had Barkley, but as the next running back, I love having Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I like your start so far, Joey. JL, you went Bijan Robinson and Amon-Ra St. Brown on the end there. Two young players, one coming in as a rookie. What's your comfort level drafting rookie, even if it is Bijan Robinson?
Comfortable enough to take him here at the last pick of the first round. I think typically when I'm looking at rookie running backs, I'm trying to find that fourth, fifth round value. Those guys who are pretty likely to finish higher than where they are. Bijan Robinson does not fall into that category. Where he's being taken here is where his ceiling is. But that should tell you how much confidence I have in Bijan Robinson this year. I think even with the Falcons' troubles, they can always just lean on their shiny new toy here.
I think you should have taken him at the 201.
Just to switch it up.
Just to get a second round value
Better
on
value.
Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeff, are you equally as optimistic for the ultra hyped rookie Bijan, or do you have more reservations?
I'm nervous. I did my projections. I've got Bijan sitting at running back 7, behind the guy that I took, Tony Pollard. There's some things that have come out that, so I do the Falcons team reports for Football Guys. We write these team reports, and so I'm reading everything I can about the Falcons right now. And I think the expectation is that there will be 3 running backs that are going to be involved, and I think you're really going to be relying on passing game involvement for Bijan Robinson. And I think it'll be heavy there, but to return really first round value or where he's going on in many drafts right now, you're relying on Desmond Ridder and the Falcons passing game to be able to do that. And I think there are better running back options that are going right behind him, like Tony Pollard.
I think that's fair. I mean, there's the risk on taking Bijan Robinson here to finish here is high. Like I said, I don't like to do this typically in leagues apart from certain talent or certain leagues where I'm trying to maximize that upside. But I'm with you, Jeff.
I like taking Amon-Ra St. Brown there, though. So I like that pick.
Man, Amon-Ra is a player that I just was so not bought in on last season, and then like 3 weeks in was like, oh, turns out I was wrong. Like very quickly, it wasn't like a whole. You couldn't even pretend to hold on to that thread that he wasn't the dude for very long. He just came out there and showed you that he was the dude.
Our buddy Coop tried so hard on the morning show. I think it was like right before week 1. He's like, bro, Gabe Davis is so much better than Amon-Ra St. Brown. Did not work out.
No.
We had some questions in here. One Nation Underground wanted to know, asking you, JL, so I'll throw it to you first. How do you feel about drafting quarterback wide receiver combos? So like a stack in redraft leagues. How do you feel about that?
In redraft, I'm not really looking to do that or go out of my way to do that unless there's a stack that falls to me. And it makes sense. Like the best player I would draft anyway would be that wide receiver, and it just gives me a nice little boost. But in redraft, you're not really getting the benefits of the outsized outcomes since you're only going against 11 people here. So I don't really try and target it too much in redraft.
Tim, are you trying to target stacks any more often in redraft?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a super flex league, I love building some stacks, especially with their QB2. There's so much late value in some of these wide receivers that you can get that I really like it. Or, I mean, if you have Amon-Ra St. Brown right now, 6th round, 7th round, you're looking for Jared Goff as your QB1. I mean, you can build those kind of reverse stacks later in drafts, and I love doing that just because it's fun. But yeah, if you're gonna do it, I mean, that's a great way to execute it. So go for it.
It is fun. I use it as a tiebreaker in the
Yeah.
draft. Like, I'm not seeking them out, but if it's close between two players and I've got that player's quarterback on my team, I'm probably snagging that one.
Mhm.
Also, Herms in here saying all of Northern Virginia is the same. Jeff is right. All exactly the same. And we got Geek stopping by in the chat saying, "Sup, y'all? Happy Friday. Here to support the Jeff Hive through the mock." So many Jeffs.
Jeff Hive,
What's up,
we're out
Geek?
there.
And Scamper's down here saying, "I'm excited to squeeze between Simon and Tim." Well, we couldn't be new excited. And Herm's down here saying, "Looks like Tim is my new best friend. Najee stands unite." Tim going Najee in the 3rd round after grabbing Derrick Henry in the 2nd and Travis Kelce in the 1st. Good God, that's just a team of heavy hitters. Tim, how you feeling so far without a wide receiver through 3 rounds?
Yeah, pretty nervous about the wide receiver situation, but like I said, there are people down here that I'm happy to grab. And I like Najee this year. I wasn't doing it just for you, Herms, but that was also a little bit of icing on the cake there. So happy to do it. And then Derrick Henry, what you don't have to say anything about him. Dude's a monster.
He's just a beast. Joey, if you are saying anything, we cannot hear you.
But if you're farting, we could definitely smell you.
No wonder. I was saying all kinds of stuff. And I was like, man, someone's talking over me. I was going to say, imagine being a team owner, like an NFL owner, and having Kelce, Henry, and Harris for the team dinner. But, yeah.
That'd be a lot of food.
Guys,
Joey, I bet it hits so much better on the initial delivery when you were muted. Also, Herms down here saying Tim is putting the T in high T with that start. Sheesh. Yeah, Joey started out pretty high T going RB and then drafted T Higgins. Joey, when you look at that Chase Higgins situation, do you view Higgins as the 2? Because I know last year there was a lot of this 1A, 1B talk.
I honestly, with that pick, I panicked and I just looked at JL and I saw the Higgins jersey and that's why I picked him. No, I like T Higgins a lot. He is the 2 for me behind Jamar Chase, but I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think there's plenty of targets to go around in that Bengals offense. He was my highest ranked receiver at that time of the draft, and I drafted him. And I'm on the clock again. And who am I going to take? No one, because DJ Moore went to Andrea.
Oh, Andrea, I was going to mention that pick. Such a good pick.
And Amari Cooper, I was going to take him. That was my cue. So I am tilting. How much time do I have?
While you're tilting,
Not a lot.
I'm going to throw it to Jeff, who drafted Josh Allen there with the 1st pick of the 3rd round, 2nd quarterback off the board. Jeff, do you find yourself going QB relatively early often this year when drafting?
I do, and I like to grab these early picks here like I did in this mock. And really what I did, kind of what I'm looking to do, grabbing those early picks, is grab guys that can finish as the overall number 1 in each position. And so getting Justin Jefferson, getting Tony Pollard, and then getting Josh Allen, I think gives me a great chance at the potential number 1 overall player at quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. And I think if we can do that through the first 3 rounds, you really build a lot of strength into your roster and really open up a lot of flexibility towards the back of the round. So ideally in the 3rd, if Mark Andrews falls to the 3rd, he didn't here, or one of these quarterbacks, I've been grabbing Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. I know there's a lot of frustration about the fall off in the 3rd round, but that's where I view it as an opportunity to grab a quarterback that can give me 25, 30, 35 points in a game. And so that's where I want to go.
So I don't need to be too mad at some guy for taking Mark Andrews then, because there's no way you would have let him slip past that 3rd round pick back to me.
Well, the thing of it is I probably would have taken Andrews, but at the same time, it's Madden Day. Madden has been released. I am a Buffalo Bills fan. Josh Allen, we finally have a Buffalo Bill on the cover of Madden after that's something that I never would have thought happened. And so I'm not going to pass up Josh Allen on Madden Day when he is on the cover athlete.
Jail, if you could pick any player to be on the cover of Madden 2020, whatever the next number is, whatever the next Madden is, who are you putting on the cover?
Ooh, anybody?
Anyone.
Swag Kelly.
Swag Kelly. Chad Kelly on the cover of the next Madden game. I like it. Oh, shoot. I'm on the clock. Oh, that's okay.
I put Dua Lipa. I think that would be my pick.
Joey, who are you putting on the cover?
Andy Reid eating some barbecue.
Ooh, that's a good one.
At the beginning of the meal or at the end of the meal?
End of the meal, all over his face.
And then it's like he
Barbecue
touched the game too, so it's all like grimy and stuff. Every single one that goes out.
Actual
You guys
barbecue
get it?
sauce on the game.
That'd be sweet.
Wow. Turns out I don't like my team when I don't grab my first wide receiver until the 4th round. I am not used to that feeling. I usually
That happens.
at least 2, usually 3 wide receivers on my team by this point. This feels weird. But that's what Mockin's for.
That's what moccasins are for.
That's what moccasins are for. Jail, you grabbed Amari Cooper there at the end of the 4th round, and not only did Joey say that you sniped him, but we had Mr. Scampers in the chat. Now, who was it? It was Swamp in the chat saying that they dug your Amari Cooper pick. Are you in on Amari Cooper returning to that wide receiver 1 production that he had last year?
Sheesh,
I think he can. I think it's within his likely pass here, likely outcomes for Amari Cooper. I have been a notorious hater of Amari Cooper in years past, and this year it's only marginally better. I feel like I'm right in on where Amari Cooper is going, which is here because he has that upside to be a wide receiver 1, but I am not expecting that.
Jeff, do you have any more optimism for Amari Cooper in this Browns offense? They did add some receiving options, but also had a full offseason with quarterback Deshaun Watson.
I was very high on them. I thought they would be very productive until kind of the recent reports that talking about their passing game is really, really struggling in practice. And that's my concern on that offense as a whole is maybe Deshaun Watson really did lose it over that time off, or maybe it's not back yet. And so if that's kind of the case, we saw how that worked at the end of last year. And then you're got a Cooper, you've got, I think Donovan Peoples-Jones is being far too written off. I think he'll still be involved. And then Elijah Moore is looks like a camp breakout right now. And so you're spreading the ball around. And if Watson is struggling, then are you really having as big a pie as really what you want to hope and see?
Herm's down here saying good thing they have Dorian Thompson-Robinson if Watson sucks. So really we don't have to worry about a quarterback drop-off at all if that's the case. But I know Joey was talking up DPJ, or at least his talent earlier this offseason. Maybe has some faith in him. Joey making a stink face that I'm putting words in his mouth.
I don't remember the episode I said that on, Simon. You've said it a few times now. And I don't hate DPJ, but once Elijah Moore got there, I was kind of off DPJ and David Njoku too, moving in there. I trust you though, because sometimes I don't know where I put like my toothbrush. So I probably did say that.
So guys, Joey just confirmed DPJ over all other receivers in that offense.
There you go, Swamp.
Tim grabbing Drake London. I was so tempted grabbing Drake London there, but I pulled the trigger on a tight end instead, Tim. He's likely going to be the top receiving option in that Atlanta passing game, but last year they threw, I think, 17 passes. How are you feeling about his situation?
Oh, I don't know. Not great. I try and Google anything about Desmond Ridder, and I do not see anything whenever I look up. So maybe, Jeff, you're the guy that's going to have to talk to us about that. But, I mean, I loved London coming out of school, so maybe, your two uppies is what's going to happen.
Maybe nothing about Desmond Ridder is better than a lot of articles about Desmond Ridder. Jeff, do you have any optimism for this Atlanta Falcons passing game this year?
Kind of the talk about from Falcons camp has been they've really struggled to pass vertically, and a lot of the passing game has been kind of underneath. And that London can play in that game, and he can be targeted there. One of the things they really pulled the offense back because of Marcus Mariota. And then when Ridder came in last year, they started to throw the ball again and went from like 23 throws per game to like 28. And so they are willing to throw the ball more. And I think the addition of Bijan Robinson will play into that, but they've struggled to push the ball downfield throughout camp.
Good, cool.
Good, cool. That's your response, Tim?
Yeah.
Scampers, and you're saying round 5 before the first, need to work harder.
For real.
Slacking today. And then Swamp said, Joey, I didn't even see Debo wasn't picked yet. This might be the first draft he's seen where Ayuk was drafted over Debo.
The shift has happened, everyone. Welcome. We were here at this moment in time.
Jeff, are you Ayuk or Debo? Who are you preferring this year?
Yeah, I mean, both, but I think that I'm probably preferring Debo over Ayuk because I do expect that a little bit of that rush game involvement will still be there. That I think that last year Debo Samuel came in out of shape because he was upset about the contract situation, and he admitted as much after the season. He kind of said that wasn't like what I expect to put out. And so he seems to be very motivated. I think in the passing game, I think Ayuk has pulled ahead, but they're all kind of right there. But I do expect Samuel to add a little bit more, just kind of well-rounded game and kind of push ahead of Ayuk.
Yeah, the talent that we saw didn't just disappear.
No.
I feel like he'll be still involved.
Yeah, big things happen
thank
when you give the ball to Deebo Samuel. He can do some things.
I wrote an
Absolutely.
article 2.5 weeks ago, and at the time, Ayuk was going about 8 picks later than he is now. And now I would just rather have whichever one's going later. If they're going that close to each other, I'll take Deebo because he's now fallen a little bit. It's crazy how the trends, move stuff around. But
Scamper said, JL, you mother.
That's very true.
But
I'm not
Ayuk
gonna
was the one that
Congratulations.
My sons.
oh gosh, come on, Craig. I had that all lined up. And
Craig's the worst. Like
seems
Jeff,
dirty.
like welcome to my hell. Ugh.
Swamp has a nice pattern up on the screen going wide receiver, running back, wide receiver, running back, wide receiver, running back. You're going to have to break it eventually, but it is beautiful,
It's
Swamp.
No, you
very
won't.
pretty.
Keep
didn't
it
you-
going.
Capitalize the
Did you
W
see
there.
Craig's comment, our historian?
No.
And no, I cannot go look up what Joey Epps said. What he said then. I can't read.
Well, Joey, you're in luck because I have a memory that has never remembered a single thing wrong. And I know for a fact you said he was one of your flag plant players for this year. So you can can probably put that in your Twitter bio.
I probably will. I don't know if I mentioned yet, but Donovan Peoples-Jones is one of my flag plant players of this year. I really like him.
Man, it really changes the draft whenever you go running back early, heavy. Tim,
Yeah.
how are you liking the wide receivers at this point in the draft since you also went running back early, heavy?
Yeah, not loving it, but I mean, actually having Mike Evans there, I was pretty excited about. He's still Mike Evans. I mean, I know we were worried about Tampa Bay, but he and Godwin are still gonna eat enough, right? So still pretty happy about that. And then we already talked about London, so a little nervous, but there's some people around here who I don't hate.
What if there's no food in Tampa Bay, Tim?
I hadn't considered that. Shoot. Now I hate my pick.
There are cities without
Tampa
food.
area.
When Jalen and I were in
Tampa
Detroit,
area
it took hours and hours to find any food after 10 p.m. It
No
was just
food in Detroit.
non-existent. Every place was closed. Even in the casinos, the food was closed. In a
They don't want you to
casino,
eat.
Wendy's
you should be able to
closed?
get food anytime. There's no Wendy's in Michigan.
Not a
They're illegal.
single Detroit Wendy's.
Really?
They're headquartered in
Interesting.
Columbus, Ohio. And I
Probably.
think that there are Wendy's in Michigan.
That's why
Culver's?
they're not allowed in Michigan.
No Culver's?
Culver's is dangerous.
All the things you think you know about Michigan, they're a mirage, and all the restaurants are actually just telegrams,
Closed.
not holograms, telegrams.
Telegrams.
Spend a week every year, so know a little bit about Michigan. But we go to northern Michigan. We go to the lake, and it's nice and quiet. So, but they don't have restaurants that are open after 10 o'clock either. So,
Just eat the fish.
Herm's down here saying, why bother worrying about Tampa Bay when you could go to the vastly superior Florida city known as Tallahassee?
Very true.
That's bait. That's
Everybody
bait.
loves
That's
Tallahassee.
bait.
Hey, Jeff, where do you stand on the city of Tallahassee, like as a city?
yeah. Is it a college town? I assume. I've never been there. I assume
Florida
with
State.
Florida State being there, it's probably a pretty fun college town. I guess maybe. I like college towns.
There we go. Now you are
I do
now
too.
Joey's mortal enemy, and we set you up for that one, and you didn't even know it was coming.
Jeff, it's literally like the worst place in the world.
I'm sure there are little hole in the wall restaurants and bars that are fantastic in Tallahassee that if you just
if you
open
want
up
to
your
lose your
mind,
girlfriend
Joey,
on a tour
give 'em
bus
a
to a
chance.
country music singer. It's terrible, terrible, horrible land.
Two players just went off the board back to back that we've kind of been seeing flip flop. Wide receivers on the same team, George Pickens and Deontay Johnson. Pickens was, I think, wildly disappointing based on his profile heading into the league. Joey, I'll throw this one to you first. When you're picking between those two players, are you going George Pickens or are you taking Deontay Johnson?
Not watching any of the catches that George Pickens has made in the last 7 days. I'm going Deontay Johnson. It's really hard not to watch those catches, though. This Pickens is really impressing in camp.
You get offensive pass interference points,
you
then
probably
yeah,
pushed off
all
some.
aboard. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But still, it's still fun. I couldn't do it. So, but if I could,
You'd go to push off and you would just fly backwards against any of those
Yeah.
players.
it's kind of fun
Jeff,
to watch, though.
Are you agreeing with Joey? Is it Deontay Johnson for you or are you leaning Pickens?
Gosh, for a long time I was for sure Johnson, but I think Pickens has the upside that if you're talking about one of these guys being a wide receiver 1 and you're taking them in the second or third round of their draft next year, it's going to be Pickens, I think.
Yeah.
Johnson's value is pretty sticky. JL, I know you've got 10 seconds left. You're going to make your pick, but I just wanted to say I freaking love your draft so far. David Montgomery as your RB2 after waiting that long. And you just made it even sexier with Rachaad White. I think that was such a great turn for you with how you started your team. How are you feeling about David Montgomery this year, stepping into a offense that had 17 rushing touchdowns to the backup running back in Jamal Williams last year?
I'm not taking the running back touchdown performances the distribution of where those rushing touchdowns went last year to really extrapolate too much insight going into this year. I think there are a lot of new things in this offense. There are a lot of new things for David Montgomery, but I believe the Lions are going to be a offense that moves the ball quite a bit. And so I think David Montgomery is going to get worked in, and he'll get a lot of those goal line carries that picking him here in the 7th round, I'm okay with. I think at best we get like a split where David Montgomery is the lead in the split, but more likely I think we see some sort of 50-50 or 60-40 split with Jahmyr Gibbs. Probably later in the season they start working Gibbs in more. So the first part of that season I expect them to really lean on Montgomery heavily.
Man, I feel like it's hard to find a running back this late in drafts with that much opportunity, and you just picked out a couple of them right there. Jeff, how are you feeling about this Lions backfield and David Montgomery's potential role in it?
I think last year Jamal Williams was such a leader in the team, and just his energy was infectious that they wanted to get him in the end zone. Kind of, I think it pumped up the team when he did score. And so I don't know that Montgomery is going to be that type of personality. And so I don't know that the drive to get him into the end zone is quite going to be there. And I'm really upset, Tim, that just took James Cook and for that to come back. And that really knocked me off. But I'm tilting here a little bit. No, I think that I don't expect that role. I think there'll be more passing in the red zone, and it'll kind of be more creative usage to get into the end zone as opposed to just running back into the line again and again and again.
It worked for them last year, but they don't have that same body anymore. Joey, the other running back the jail took there, Rachaad White. You're the Tampa Bay fan here. I'm the Rachaad White infatuator. Talk to me. Tell me, am I rightly excited?
I think you are rightly excited. There's no one else on that Tampa Bay team that's going to get the ball. I think you want to minimize what Baker can do on the field just in case he's Baker. It's a nice way to say it. There's a lot of people that see Rachaad White as a breakout. I think he's going to get a larger workload than he definitely did last year with Leonard Fournette being on the field there. So I'm very optimistic for Rachaad White. It's one of the bright spots of the Bucs offense I'm looking forward to watching. That being said, I hope they lose every game. We get Caleb Williams.
They feel like they're just waiting for permission to go 0-17. Like it just,
right?
It's kind of one of those things that like we're trying, we promise, but then they're just going to mail it all in and go.
To quote one of our friends, Dave Kluge, like it's time to read the tea leaves, and like they're bringing back the creamsicle for this year. Like they're already in tank mode and they haven't played a game yet, and I love it.
Hey, they're going to be fighting with those Arizona Cardinals for last place.
Yeah,
tough fight.
Jeff, if you had to, you're on the clock. I fell down. Tim, I'm going to throw it to you. Who do you think is going to have the first draft pick next year?
It's got to be the Cardinals. I mean, the Bucs are trying, but again, their defense is still fine. They're playing in the NFC South. It's not the juggernaut of leagues. They're going to steal games by accident.
They can accidentally make the playoffs.
Yeah, literally. Like that whole, like it's so silly. But
oh god, Joey, that would be so awful for the Bucs if they just happen to sneak into the playoffs. Like pulled out a win in that division.
No, like I don't. If the Cardinals get their first pick, does that mean they're sending Kyler out the door? And could Kyler end up on the Bucs and get a second chance?
Kyler will be traded if they get the first pick. They're going.
Yeah, and the Bucs, like, listen, sorry, Kyle Trask lovers and Baker Mayfield lovers. I am a Baker boy. I feel like I have to be now. Like I'll take Kyler Murray.
I'll send you my jersey, Joey. Maybe you can get a couple more years use out of it than I did in Cleveland.
The really fun thing for the Cardinals is if they also have the Texans pick, and so they could go like Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. and that would
wow.
Ooh, you just had every Cardinals fan like yelp in excitement as you said that out loud. Jeff, you decided to go with the second tight end here in Dalton Kincaid. I know he's a Bills, but I'm assuming it's more than just a Bills homer pick. Do you have some optimism for the rookie tight end?
Well, I do have a lot of optimism. He's like my tight end 8 when I projected everything out, but also it is a homer pick, and I wanted to get a stack with Josh Allen. But looking back, I think that I didn't love the draft pick of Goddard. I probably would have gone a different direction there with the running backs, wide receivers on the board. But I just wanted to take Kincaid, and I knew he wouldn't get it back to me.
Dallas Goedert feels like the tight end when like the best tight ends are off the board and you're like, shoot, no, I wanted one of them. And then you grab him because he's still technically in that group. He's up there with George Kittle and those guys, 100%. But then you're sitting there and you're looking at the other names and it doesn't quite feel as good as the other names sitting up there.
It's kind of my take with Pat Freiermuth. If Pat Freiermuth is going to get taken by that person that looks at their roster and sees a hole at tight end and says, I better fill this hole in. Pat Freiermuth is available. So that's where Pat Freiermuth goes.
That's a Freiermuth-sized hole right there.
Yeah.
It's a big hole. 234 in here wanted to know thoughts on A.J. Dillon. John Luke, thoughts on singular thought on A.J. Dillon. Just one, please.
I haven't drafted him in a single league or mock draft. So that should tell you. I should tell you no. There is so much uncertainty in this Packers team. What are they going to look like? What are they going to be this season? I'm not taking the backup running back in that offense. I'd rather have anybody else. Anybody.
And the dreams of it being like a split A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones backfield that seemed to be very common going into last season are all but dead after what they did last year. Now you add in Aaron Rodgers gone, Jordan Love stepping up into that position. I'm nervous too. Jeff, if there's any A.J. Dillon truthers out there, do you have any more good news for them, or are you more in line with John Luke and I here?
No, I'm with you guys. I'm worried about that offense. I think the ceiling's going to be pretty low on that. God bless Jordan Love and good luck with that. I do think they have to rely on the running backs, but I don't know. I don't think they're going to be good.
Hermson here says, do not besmirch Muth.
I love you, Herms.
We can do it.
Go
ahead, Joey.
I just want to take a moment to talk about spaying and neutering your pets, especially your cats out there. If your cat is not been fixed, go ahead and take care of that. No, I do, and he is neutered. And I think that Mr. Scampers, for what he did in the 9th round, should also be neutered.
No more potential little scampers running around to snipe some object.
We don't need anyone disrespecting people they say they care about, but I don't know.
I almost did it just for the content, but I didn't.
It's good.
Need 4th running back.
When Jay and I were doing the mock draft shows, somebody did it. I believe it was Craig on one of the nights, and I really went off the handle, like way too, like I was really inappropriate. I kind of regret it. Not really.
Well, Joey, after you got sniped, you then proceeded to snipe Swamp with your chain.
I was hoping he's going to make it back.
Dalvin Cook landed on a team. Ezekiel Elliott landed on a team. Leonard Fournette is rumored to a different team. So all these pieces are falling, and A-Chain is coming up pretty clean in that backfield. Are you rising on him as these free agent running backs start falling on other teams?
Yeah, if I have to take a Dolphins running back, it's A-Chain. I think Mostert's kind of aging out of the position. That's rude to say. But Jeff Wilson's the one that I'm worried about kind of competing with him in this backfield. But it's really anyone's backfield. And I feel like it's his best. He has the best chance of getting it.
Jeff, do you have love for your fellow Jeff, or are you on the chain side like Joey?
I don't like Shane. He was playing in the 4th quarter of the first preseason game. They've got him gunning on the punt team. I think that they are very comfortable with Mostert and Wilson being their 2-headed backfield, and maybe a Shane works into that. But right now, I don't think it's there.
Jeff's going Jeff over a Shane.
I'm like the fantasy buzzkill. I think it was Herms.
No, you're not. Like people are tired of hearing me talk about stuff.
I don't know.
It's good that we have you.
So Herm said Wilson Jr. is the bigly boy and A-Chain is the wiggly boy. They're the perfect duo.
Bigly and wiggly.
I could just
be wrong about everything.
I think the most important thing to realize is you could just be wrong about everything, and
literally
would be more fun. I mean,
as long as you're funny and attractive, nothing matters.
I'm wrong a lot. I don't check either of those boxes, and I still going along.
Seems like, oh shit, sorry.
Let's go look at your drafts from previous years. That'll tell you how wrong we are.
100%.
It is humbling, and especially like you if you're in dynasty leagues, do a startup. Look at your startup from 2 or 3 years ago. It is wild. It is wild.
That's insane.
Almost identical, except I got Eckler from JL.
for Tevin Coleman.
Oh man, yeah, Tevin Coleman was your dude, JL, and boy did I think CJ Anderson was going to have a much longer career than he did towards the end there. But that didn't pan out, and neither did Doug Martin. And now
I love how one of us airs our dirty laundry. The rest of us all just immediately jump in.
I made bad picks too.
Wasn't as bad as mine.
Apparently, I've just scared everybody off of taking Pat Fryermuth now in this draft because he's just
everyone's like, I don't want to be that guy that Jeff pointed out. Well, people think I just picked my tight end willy nilly.
Did Leonard Fournette really go to the Raiders? Is that like a done deal?
I don't know. I have not seen that. That may just be some wishful thinking down there. Let's see. Who said it in there? Fournette, Las Vegas Raider from 234. I can look that up right now, see if we have any official news.
Reaction.
I'm not seeing anything.
The last thing I'm seeing is that he visited a summer camp for children recovering from cancer, which is a very positive thing to do.
Understandable. You might mistake that for the Las Vegas Raiders. Very understandable.
Close. JL, you went Juju Smith-Schuster and Odell Beckham Jr. on the turnover there. 2 wide receivers on new teams. One of them in a much more crowded room, that being Odell Beckham Jr. How do you see the Ravens receiving core shaken out when all is said and done in what is supposed to be a more pass-heavy offense that we've seen the past couple of years?
I think both of these guys, they have similar magnitudes of risk, but they're different kinds of risk here. Juju, while there's not much competition, the offense doesn't pass a ton. Bill Belichick does not use anybody consistently, like in a consistent way. And Odell, while I think he's more talented than Juju, he's in a new offense. It's new offense to everybody on that team. And he's old AF. So I'm worried about Odell. I'm not that high on him, I'd say. I'd much rather have Zay Flowers or Rashad Bateman if I'm going to get a Ravens wide receiver. But at this point in the draft, the Juju Odell Beckham is a 1-2 punch here. I'm just looking for upside bets, hoping one of them pans out.
Jeff, do you have more excitement towards one of those players or the other, Juju and Odell Beckham, each on a new team?
No, I don't.
No excitement towards either. No fire.
I think Juju could be the leading receiver for the Patriots, and that's value. If he's on the field, I think he's going to be the most targeted player. So I think that's fair. That's good value. Odell, I've just been actively avoiding Odell. I really think that when you look at the way with the health of Odell, the health of Rashad Bateman, the way the development of Zay Flowers, I think you're really going to see Baltimore narrow it down to Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers as their top 2 receiving options. And then the other guys will pitch in as they're available, but counting on either of those guys, I don't know if you're building your offense around that.
Oh, scammers.
Get sniped again, Joey.
I don't like that cat.
That cat is just taking it out on you today.
That darn cat.
You're exactly right. I scared everybody off of Muth, and I should have not taken Kincaid and just take Fryermuth in round 11.
Yeah, some guy getting them in round 11. Herm's celebrating 3 to 4 rounds too late for Muth, he says.
I do not live in Buffalo. I live in Columbus, Ohio. So, Andrea, I don't live in Buffalo. Sorry.
It's kind of like Buffalo if it was in Ohio and entirely different.
Yeah.
I want to see the Darnell Washington train just take off. It's scary seeing a 6'6" person who's 285 run as well as he does. It's just terrifying. I want that would work.
I was so sad when he got drafted by the Steelers. Yeah. I wanted him to go somewhere where there was a path, just so we could see, just where he could very easily kind of tackle that role.
I want him on the Finns. Gesicki left, and then it's just lined up, and then it's okay. It's fine. We need another lineman anyway. So
Joey grabbing Mingo, rookie wide receiver with a rookie quarterback throwing to him. There's been a lot of talk about Mingo and his athletic profile this week, that he doesn't quite profile up with some of the other receivers. Are you letting that affect the way you're viewing him, Joey? Because I know he's someone that you were a little bit higher on in the pre-draft process.
I was higher in the pre-draft process, then I started falling off of him. But Terrace Marshall, it's looking he's dealing with an injury. So Mingo moved up a little bit for me. I'll take the chance here. There's a lot of wide receivers that are kind of all in a big glob for me, and Mingo's the one I just kind of felt the best about at this point.
Jeff, are you worried about the athletic concerns that have been brought up for rookie Jonathan Mingo?
He's a very large man when he gets the ball in his hand. And so, and looking at, I think Carolina, I really like DJ Chark there, but at the same time, after watching their game this past week, the way that Bryce Young got hit, I think that the bigger body of Mingo working in like short to intermediate, get him the ball in his hands and let him run into a defensive back, I think is going to play pretty well for that offense.
Makes sense. Jail's back on the clock here. 2 tight ends gone. We'll see where he rolls. While we're waiting for that, I see Herms down here coming in saying, hey, man, we need more linemen. I love Washington and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I like a lot. To play 2 tight ends in that offense and treat Darnell Washington as an extra lineman and just button people, I think is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Jail and I were playing a game of chicken there. I was wondering which one of us was going to go first with the quarterback. Those were the last 2 teams.
Jail, how do you feel after waiting until the 11th round? Are you happy with the quarterback you ended up with?
Oh yeah, there are plenty of quarterbacks I would have taken around here. There's tons of options. That's why I wait almost every time in 1 QB leagues.
I had that thought multiple times during the draft today. Like, man, would have been cool to grab Tua here. Man, would have been cool to grab Trevor here. But you can't be mad about Jalen Hurts. But I see what you're saying, John Luke. It's there were multiple times where I saw that value dropping and I wasn't able to capitalize on it. Joey, you did something similar. Are you still feeling comfy?
Yep. I'll wait a little bit. I don't know. I might take one next. I might get crazy. I don't know what's going to happen. I love that value for Jail with Watson, though. If Watson would have come to me at 12, I would have taken him there. So because Jail didn't and he was the last one, I will probably wait now another round. Not to show my hand, but
someone earlier in the stream asked me about stacking wide receiver QB. This is a perfect example where it just happens. John Watson fell to me. Now I can pair him with Amari Cooper.
He went to Clemson too, so
he did
double points.
Yeah,
in some leagues.
You guys going to be good this year? You guys feeling good about the Tigers bouncing back? Cade Klubnik
feeling better than last year.
I don't know a thing.
Yeah, feeling better than last year. But I very, very, just I guess nervous going into the season because this is like they have to put it back together or else there's going to be probably long-term effects here.
Yeah, I get that.
Especially with the current landscape around conference realignment, this may be one of the last seasons we see like this version of Clemson football playing in this version of the ACC that we know. Like, who the hell knows what it's going to look like this time next year? Maybe Clemson's in the SEC or Big Ten, and the ACC's kaput.
Which direction you want them to go, SEC or Big Ten?
Big Ten.
I think it'd be fun. Go Big Ten.
I would love to play Ohio State every year. That would be so much. That's like those games. Like, and I know you're an Ohio State fan, Jeff, but there's just some real emotion and fun in those games that happened while I was in school.
Especially that, a couple of years ago, they do not like each other.
No, they do not like each other. But
you're on the clock, Sam. Oh, you got it.
But it's fun.
Oh, Simon.
And there's some Ohio State Clemson history. There was what was the name of the coach, Jeff?
Woody Hayes.
Woody Hayes punched a Clemson player, ended his career there. So it goes back. That's like a real there's something to base that rivalry on, and I love that kind of stuff.
That was one of those, especially like you guys won that really close back and forth game that the Buckeyes got screwed out of. But then the next year when they played, the way that Ohio State was getting that next year was like they don't do this very often.
No. Was that
31-0, baby?
The Taj Boyd, Braxton Miller game?
No, the game where so Justin Fields lit it up and threw like 6 touchdown passes the one game. But the year before that was the Lawrence, and there was I think it was the Justin Ross or T. Higgins had the fumble. And that wasn't a fumble. That was a touchdown that would have won the game. And it got called back by the crooked SEC officials in the replay booth.
That's right. I remember exactly that happening.
No, that sounds familiar to me.
Storyline. I'm pretty sure that's how they printed it in the Clemson newspaper as well, if I remember properly. Jeff, you grabbed a second quarterback here along with a second tight end. Is that generally how you go in these 1 QB leagues? Do you like to double up at those positions?
Not ideally, not really, especially taking Josh Allen early, but looking at the value that's kind of on the board here, I think that, especially being a couple weeks out from the season starting, that I think that opens you up for trade potentials where, Joey doesn't have a quarterback, and if he ever is going to have a quarterback on his team, maybe he needs Dak Prescott instead of starting, who's it going to be, Bryce Young here? So, that opens up for that ability. But ideally, probably at this range of the draft, I want to start filling my roster with backup running backs that could realize value with just one injury.
Yeah, everyone should take backup running back from here on until I pick. So
Oh, yeah.
I left.
I'm just going to keep on taking wide receivers over it. I'm overcorrecting after not having one for 4 rounds. And so now I'm just going,
Oops.
I'm just going wide receiver,
Oh,
wide
we
receiver,
got
wide receiver,
Aaron
wide receiver.
Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, and Jared Goff on the board. Which one do you think Joey's hoping he's getting right now?
Goff. Maybe Cousins. He loves Cousins.
Fucking asshole. What an asshole. Can't believe we came from the same womb. You're such a piece of garbage,
Now Cousins is there for you.
I might just not take a quarterback out of spite now. I'm just going to give him off the waiver wire. I'm going to go trade with Jeff and get Dak Prescott.
That felt good.
I
was looking at the wide receivers. I was like, nah. And then you said that. I was like,
worth a
yes,
lot more,
let's
isn't
do
it?
it.
No, I don't want to do.
He just waited perfectly.
Jeff, great job orchestrating that there. The narration of Tim sniping him was beautiful. Because we are likely not going to finish all 15 rounds of this draft, just throwing that out there now, but we will go for about another 4 or 5 minutes here, see as many picks as we can get in. JL, you keep on drafting players on new teams. And you took Ezekiel Elliott, who might be the freshest player on a new team. What are your expectations for him joining Ramondre Stevenson in that Patriots backfield?
I don't think he's the freshest player on any team.
Well,
but
it's like when you go to Goodwill and you buy a shirt. That's the freshest shirt in your wardrobe, even though it's not a fresh shirt.
Very true. Most recent.
That's probably a better word.
Yeah. You asked me how I feel about Ezekiel Elliott. Not good, Bob. Look, we're getting thin here. It's the 13th round, and the way that I did this build, I pushed off going running back. So I'm trying to add some of this low level value. Instead of going Ezekiel Elliott, I should have went Kendre Miller for the upside, but I didn't really think about it till after.
It's okay. Jeff, do you have any optimism for Zeke joining Ramondre Stevenson in New England?
Kind of. I'm kind of excited for it because I think he's exactly the type of player Bill Belichick likes because he's very technically refined, and I think he was going to be involved, and I think he's going to vulture some touchdowns. I think he's going to be involved in the passing game. I've got him at running back 37 in my ranks, which I think is fine for what he's your RB4. I mean, if you do math real quick, you get to 36 when you're kind of 37. That's pretty good for RB4.
Math checks out. Thanks for doing the math because we don't like to do it.
I like the jail. I really like your team. It's really good. And
yes.
Z2. Jordan Love.
Oh, gross.
Oh, wait, I took Love. Oh, crap. I meant to take Rodgers. Oh, God.
Rodgers would have been a sweet pick there.
Oh, my God. I love it. That is amazing.
Jeff, have you been watching Hard Knocks?
I have seen 2 episodes, or the 1 episode of Hard Knocks. I saw the first one. I'll probably watch it tonight with my wife. We watched Big Brother to catch up on that. We recorded the
that started
Dynasty show on Wednesday night, so that kind of knocked out a Big Brother night. So we watched that, and then we'll probably watch Hard Knocks tonight, I imagine.
I need to catch up on it and on Big Brother. And I'm about 2 weeks behind on Big Brother, so I think that means I've missed 47 episodes, if I'm not mistaken.
People got thrown out of the house, Simon.
So it's gonna take me a minute to figure it out.
We've been watching Never Have I Ever, if you watch that on Netflix. So we watched that.
I have not been watching that on Netflix. Do I
It's
need
like
to add that to my watch list?
Is it worth it?
In high school show. So,
So yes.
Yes, of course.
So absolutely.
Added. Watching tonight.
All right. Well, guys, we're going to keep on making some of these picks down the stretch here, but we are approaching the end of our show. Before we go, I want to give a big thanks to our friend Jeff for coming on, drafting with us, imparting some of his wisdom, and gracing us with his handsome face. Jeff, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate all you guys. All weekend long at the expo, whenever I saw one of you guys, it just made me happy. And I think that's what we're here to do. And so thank you so much.
And next time you come on, it's the big 1-0. Tradition is we all do it shirtless. So get ready to show up. Nips out, show 10, baby.
Nips out, show 10.
When was the least happy time you saw us, Jeff?
The least happy time I saw you? I don't know.
Or maybe
I never had an unhappy time at the expo, but like it's that extra level of like bringing up the experience.
When were you most frightened by Tim's presence?
I'm so happy they're here.
I was unhappy with Jeff at one point during the expo weekend. we were on a very tall Ferris wheel, and I was.
We did the Ferris wheel. We should have done that football throw too. In retrospect, Joey, because we kind of were hanging around there. We should have just done that too, and I regret not doing that. Gosh,
Which
I
one?
really wanted Tajay Spears. That zip line thing that they were doing, we should have done that.
Yeah.
Because if you want to
There's-
scare, if you want to scare the snot out of Joey, take him up into a Ferris wheel with you because apparently he doesn't like it up there. That is going to be it for us today. We're going to wrap this draft up off screen, but we will be back Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern time for some more fantasy football game show fun. Coming up next here on Better Sports Network, you can stick around for Better Sports Betting with Dan Servo-Didio. And one last reminder for you, the FYF Declassified Draft Guide is live at frontyardfantasy.com. And by live, I mean the presale is live for 1001. The draft guide will be live for you this weekend. So go ahead and get your order in, and then you can use that to help you out with all your drafts or just to giggle at in bed while you're laying alone at night because you can't sleep because of severe anxiety. Whatever works. The draft guide serves both of those purposes. That's going to be it for us today. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Big thanks to everybody here on screen and to our guest, Jeff, and everybody in the chat for coming and hanging out with us. Enjoy Friday. Enjoy Saturday. Do your best on Sunday. And then we'll see you guys Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Adios, everyone.
Go football.
Go football. Oh, my God.
I hate this show.